And the other thing I would say is, you know, after you work years of minimum wage and just bullshit, just having an awful life experience, once you find something that's actually worthwhile and actually does reward you for your hard work, and you know what, put in 8 hour days, I'm happy to do that. I'm thrilled to put in 8 hour days when I had to grind so much harder before. So it's kind of like a new perspective where I'm just grateful to be able to do this. And so in a way, I feel guilty if I don't put in the time. You know, it's like I kind of just see it as my responsibility. I'm a professional day trader. It's like I'm going to show up, I'm going to be here. If there's opportunities, I can nail them. You know, it's just kind of like a personal responsibility thing, kind of hold for myself. Although I know that's not true for every personality out there. You know, some people it actually does benefit them to take breaks and walk away. So it definitely is just a lot of who you are as a person as well.
All right, everybody, welcome back to This Week in Steady Trade. We have a special guest with us, Dan Irish. I'm sure several of you know him from Twitter. He's very active on Twitter, and he's always willing to share just his trade entries, his P&L. You know, he gives a ton out to the community. But we wanted to have him on to congratulate him. He just crossed $1 million in verified trading profits, which is huge. Absolutely awesome, man. Yeah, that's so sick. Yeah, so I mean, we've all known Dan for quite some time. Actually, I interviewed him, dude. What was it, 2019, 2 years ago now? On Beyond the
Oh, it was a
PT.
while ago. I
Yeah.
just got out of the hole. That
Oh,
was
I remember that. That was a great episode. So we'll link that below because that's really cool. Just Dan 2 years ago versus Dan now. He just got out of his hole, like his loss hole, 2 years ago, and now he crossed $1 million in profits. So it's a long journey. Dan crushed it. Yeah, just pleasure to have you on, man. And
yeah. Thanks for having me.
absolutely. You want to just give us like a quick overview of, I guess, why you got into trading, how you got started, and then, skim over the years and just, the process that you've gone through?
Sure. So, I mean, for me, it was just, I was always struggling to get motivated at school, you know, college, just whatever. I was having a hard time finding my path. And so I was kind of desperate. And so I was just desperately looking around for different things I could get into. I ran into one of Tim Sykes' videos, just randomly on YouTube, and I was like, hey, this guy, a lot of people talk shit about this guy, and a lot of people doubt him. And coming from like a poker background, I was used to that. You know, people giving me shit for playing poker and all that. So it's like, you know what? That seems like something I would probably like to try. And that's it all started there, you know. And then I clicked, I liked it, dropped out of college, which probably not the best choice for y'all out there, but I did. And I paper traded full time while working a part time job, lived off my savings.
After you blew
Parents
up, though.
parents let me stay there rent free, so I would have been screwed without them, and got really lucky.
Well, I think you made your own luck. I think we can all
A little bit,
say
a little
that.
bit.
Yeah. The harder you work, the luckier you get. It's one of my favorite quotes. So,
True.
we can attribute it to hard work. Um, yeah. So, just how long did that take you? I guess from just like, you said you paper traded basically full time or whatever. So from there to, today, how many years has that been? How we love you. You're like basically the king degen, right? I saw Jack threw a tweet at you on Twitter. What are you up to? 11.2K trades. So like there's a ton of trades. There was no just single trade. So what
Yeah,
was the process for you?
like it has a lot to do with my style. And you know, the thing about the 11,500 trades is that on Profit OY, you know, it usually averages trades. So you can actually multiply that by probably like five. So it's kind of ridiculous. I'm just trading like, I don't know. It's just I'm looking for those sweet spots, you know, where I really think it's gonna surge. And if it doesn't, I basically just cut it for break even or small win, small loss. And the way the risk reward works is I can get like 20 to 1, 30 to 1, 40 to 1 risk reward ratio. Um, so it just carries me. It carries my profits, and just it's just it just works for my personality, you know.
Gotcha.
So you really have adopted the Tim Sykes cut losses quickly mentality. And it seems like you're really chasing those big spikers.
Yeah, it's in a weird way. I mean, it is kind of like I'm just I call them my little lotto plays. Like they're kind of like little lotto cards, and I'm just like throwing them in. Like I hope I win the lottery. But the difference is, if you buy a lotto ticket, you lose all that investment. If stocks, you can pull out, break even, and try again on a different stock. But I mean, it's not it is pretty random, but at the same time, I do have really specific criteria. It has to have all the factors that can create really bullish momentum explosions. So that's really what I'm zoning in on. And NASDAQ is what I'm all about. Never been good at OTC, just punt money on OTC. So I can't do it. I can't trade it.
So would you say me and Jack had mentioned this earlier, early in the day on our IG live, but so you would say your personality, you kind of would favor risk reward than over win rate. You're willing to give stocks multiple stabs, cut break even, but that one that works, you're going to get, like you said, 10 to 1, 20 to 1, and really blow it out of the water.
All about the risk reward for me. That's all I care about. I think if you got good risk reward, you don't got to be that good at trading, and you can be profitable. So that's really what I just recognized. I'm not the best at really knowing these things, but I do know, at least I know which ones have really good risk reward. And that's why I take so many shots, because I don't know what the heck's going to work.
So
right on. Love it.
How have you scaled up your risk over your journey from, unprofitability to what you were in like a $14,000 hole? How did you, after you did paper trading, how did you scale your risk up to make $1 million in, just 2 years? It really wasn't that long of a time,
I think I would go through a period where, like in the very beginning when I restarted after paper trading, I would take between $20 and $50 risk per trade. And I would just, it was never something I consciously said, okay, I'm going to scale up now. It was never like that for me. It was more just like, for a while, I'm just going to keep going with the flow. Once I've made $10,000 or $20,000, then I'm like, you know what? This is getting pretty repetitive. It's getting pretty easy. I haven't felt emotionally challenged in a while. Let me try to size up. And then I'll, make my risk a little bit more, like $100 or something. Now I'm looking at it, even to this day, I'm only at like $500 to $1,000 of risk on most of my trades, unless something goes wrong, which sometimes things go wrong. But so yeah, for the most part, I've really only scaled up about 10x from like where I've started. I feel like maybe a little bit more, but yeah.
I think that's the great thing about risk reward, where people think you have to risk a lot to make a lot, but when you're right, when you have risk reward on your side, you really don't. You don't need to risk life-changing money to make life-changing money if you do it correctly. So that's awesome.
Yeah, that's the cool part. Yeah, that's actually why I think I chose the risk reward strat rather than a win rate strat, because the scalability, if your baseline, your start is good risk reward, then it's a strategy that can be scaled over time quite a bit. And honestly, I think I feel like I've only maybe gotten to 10% of my potential. I really think I could size up so much more, and work on patience and all the things that traders work on. I think I've got a long ways to go.
It's awesome, man. Earlier you mentioned poker, and I just can't help but imagine just your poker mindset has really influenced your trading style. Is that the case?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Oh yeah, because when I found the game that clicked for me with poker, it's called a sit and go. And what it is, it's like a very fast tournament where you buy in, it's like a one table tournament. I would buy in with like a $5 buy-in. We'd play, and then top 3 payout. And I could play, 4 at once and just grind those out. And that kind of just taking, you buy in, you either win or you don't. The loss is small because the most you can actually lose on that entire game is just that buy-in, and you get a lot of experience because you get to play through a whole tournament. So you get experience with very little risk. And yeah, I feel like that's how I trade in a weird way. It's like just I take really low risk shots at things that have a lot of reward potentially and just grind those trades out. So I think it has absolutely influenced me for sure.
Yeah, no, I agree. Just from my perspective, like, what'd you say, 11,500 trades? Like, it's just the same thing. It's like 11,500 sit and go tournaments where your risk is super small.
Yeah.
And just over time, Sykes says those singles add up. And that's exactly what's happened to you. Yeah, you've sized up, but just over those 11,000 trades, just lock it in, and those singles add up very quickly.
Absolutely.
So I have a question. Along your journey, I know it's probably a lot of trades, a lot of focus, a lot of, mentally being in the game. So I'm just curious, like, how you avoided burnouts and how you stayed motivated maybe after you took 10 or 20, 30 losses in a row and nothing seemed to be clicking.
There's a lot of routes I could go on this question. I think that, well, the easiest one is it's really easy to keep going and keep pushing when something comes natural to you, as far as naturally being interested in it. I don't think this came easy to me at all. I think I probably was maybe even worse than most people as far as how long it took me. But yeah, I mean, when you're really motivated, really like something, it's really easy to show up and do it because it feels like a game. It feels fun. So I'm happy to show up. And the other route I could take is maybe I have some type of gambling addiction, and maybe this just works out for me. It's like, maybe that hard work, I'm like, maybe it's an addiction. Who knows? I mean, you never know. I'm just keeping it real. I don't know.
I think that there's truth to that, to really everybody who finds success in this space. That you kind of have to be. I mean, any success, like any career where such a small amount of people, make it, where there is a level of obsession and addiction that you probably, at least that habitual addiction, you definitely cultivate for sure. I would 100% not throw that out at all. That's there for sure.
And the other thing I would say is, after you work years of minimum wage and just bullshit, just having an awful life experience, once you find something that's actually worthwhile and actually does reward you for your hard work, and you know what, put in 8-hour days, I'm happy to do that. I'm thrilled to put in 8-hour days when I had to grind so much harder before. So it's kind of like a new perspective where I'm just grateful to be able to do this. And so in a way, I feel guilty if I don't put in the time. It's like I kind of just see it as my responsibility. I'm a professional day trader. It's like I'm going to show up, I'm going to be here. If there's opportunities, I can nail them. It's just kind of like a personal responsibility thing, kind of hold for myself. Although I know that's not true for every personality out there. Some people, it actually does benefit them to take breaks and walk away. So it definitely is just a lot of who you are as a person as well.
Yeah, well said, man. Any other questions for Dan before we let him take the stage?
Yeah, I got one more. So kind of to touch on the dropout situation. Would for you looking back on yourself, a year, 2, 3 years ago throughout your journey, is there anything you wish you may have told your younger self? Or because I get a lot of questions all the time of like, hey, I'm in college, do I drop out, this or that? And my personal experience is that I did end up sticking through it, only because it actually helped me trade. Like if I had dropped out, my parents would have kicked me out. I would have had to get a much more higher paying job to support myself. You kind of mentioned some of those things in your journey. Is there anything any tips, any reflections that you have of seeing everything in the past that you want to share, or that's helped you, or that you'd wish you told yourself when you first started?
I mean, the easy thing is, stop being such a dumbass. That's what I would tell myself when I just started punting 25 capital positions when I had no experience or no knowledge. So don't just punt money just because you're eager to trade. That's the obvious one. The other, I would probably tell people, try not to ask other people questions. Try to really just do what feels right for you. because that's what helped me the most, I think. Progressing and getting into trading is just getting in the habit of asking myself the questions rather than looking all over the place. Just ask yourself the questions. You got so much more power than you could ever imagine if you just realize you can ask yourself the questions and put and find those, the answers. So that's what I'd say.
That.
Awesome, man. All right. You want to share your screen?
Sure.
And I'd love to just see what you got cooking over there.
Sure. So let's see. Just go over BTX because I mean this one, obviously the big squeeze lately. So this came on my radar. Basically in this area, I just saw it off scans probably, when something makes a big move like this, gets my attention. Actually, it was probably this after hours move. Yeah, so this perk. Maybe it was even farther. Okay, yeah, this move on the 5th, this was like an after hours surge. Just lots of volume, lots of movement, and there wasn't news, which is fine. I mean, I didn't see news, maybe there was, but pretty much when something makes a move like this that impresses me, I'm going to put it on my watch list. And that's kind of my go-to. Okay, I'll just put it on there for a week or two and see if it can develop anything that I like. And then over the next week, I mean, you can see the higher lows. You can see as it's ramping, testing these that former level from the initial move. And that's my favorite setup is when something, consolidates in a tighter and tighter range until it's really testing this original spot. And then once it breaks out of that, it can basically go higher than anybody expects. These things can just do wild things. And I find that those are the ones that have the best risk reward ratio. If you get that breakout and find that right entry zone, it can really lead to some crazy upside. So I think on, multiple days, I got a couple tweets I made. Oh yeah, this is my favorite trade of, let me get to this day. This was my favorite trade of April. So I was able to nail this one. Scaled in at 1070, 5,000 shares, sold it at 1250. So that's just a really, really nice win. And the reason why I got involved is because obviously you got that morning move and then all day you can see it's just consolidating and it's holding gains. You get the higher low ramp into the afternoon. I really like symmetric triangles. So this is something I really like to do. Just as it's consolidating, it gets to that really kind of that point, and you've got the higher lows leading into kind of that ramp. So it's just kind of a situation where something holds gains all days and then breaks out in the afternoon. You can look at the morning scale. So it went from 9:30 to 11:30. So if it breaks out in the afternoon, you can kind of imagine, okay, I should go for something like $2 a share upside. That's because I just find the scales like to match each other. So that's what I went for. I nailed it. The question I get a lot too is, well, why didn't you play this one? And the answer is I did play it. So like a lot of times I actually am playing these things. So I did take 5,000 to 1030. I almost got the breakout here, but it got weak on me. I ended up cutting it a little late. Actually, I was kind of upset with myself. I waited so long, but 1046. So even on the failed play, I was able to scoop up $700 on that. And so that's really what my trading style is. It's like, and what's my risk? It's just kind of that key range right beneath me. And really I'm trying to time it. So I'm entering as that momentum's pushing. So I won't even have to really risk that zone.
So have you ever like bought a stock into weakness, or like have you like never bought a dip? Like have you always just bought strength and consolidation perking type patterns?
I would say the weakness that I buy, it's always after confirmation, and what I consider confirmation is like a higher low double bottom. It's basically when a structure forms where you have the base that or the stock proves itself that it's able to form that base. So I'm not buying it with the risk of the floor bottoming out on me. It's like after that is held solid, I'm taking the fresh perk off that, risking all of that support that just held over that period of time. So it's kind of like really making sure I've got security before I jump into these things. That's what I find most important. Just make sure you got that support before you go for something.
Gotcha. Do you just slap the ask?
I always buy into the ask because I'm a strong believer in supporting your own play. I like to make the plays perk and make the TA that I want, and I like to help the momentum rather than and a lot of these surge spots, you gotta buy it. You gotta buy the ask, because if you put a limit down, you show your hand. So what I mean by that is, like, if you want 5 or 10,000 shares, if you just slap it down on the bid as a sitting limit, well, you showed your hand, and the market's gonna move without you. So it's kind of tricky when you're trying to pinpoint precision to this degree. It's tricky to use limit orders.
Gotcha. I always thought you were an ask guy.
Yeah, one of the things that stood out to me too initially is that how patient you kind of have to be, right? Like, maybe you didn't even play that morning spike, but you clearly let that morning spike happen and then really let it sit all day and consolidate and form, and then you try to take a play. And I think newer traders generally want to just see instant action and instant plays. Like, where are the plays? Why can't I play them right now? This and that, and I relate to that because I'm very similar to on the long strategy. Like, I generally don't like buying breakout, like the actual breakout. I love waiting 2, 3, 4 hours for them to hold and then actually get in, like you said, kind of get in at that last like key trigger at level where it's like, okay, it's happening. Here it goes.
Right.
So I totally love that.
That's a great point, because in the morning, I would say I do miss them most of the time. Like, maybe not most of the time, but especially stuff that's not forming on a multi-day scale. Like, this was a multi-day scale, so I can nail them because I just love the multi-day scale. It makes it so predictable for me. And so I did nail it in the morning. But the thing is, that I like that you pointed on is, like, if you miss the surge, it's so much better to just watch it, learn it, sit it out. Don't take that insane morning risk if you miss a good entry zone. Just let it consolidate a bit until later. If it does, and it does form that afternoon entry like this one, you have a brand new play that is predictable because you saw it in the morning, and the risk reward's great, and you're going to be more consistent. You're going to be safer, less stressful, all those good things. You see, I did nail this one in the morning, but my sell was awful. So sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I get too patient, go for the grand slam, and it doesn't always work out. But the reason why I was able to nail this 9:30 entry, it just held the range, started to perk out of it. I really like that pattern. And the most important thing, though, is that it's a gap up actually from the night before. And this is what I don't know, I just call it a third day surge setup. It's just like when something has a really nice first day, and then on day 2, there's no trade really. I actually stay away from these most of the time, but I just let them consolidate for a full day. And then on day 3, you'll get that nice surge to retest some of these levels. And potentially, if you get lucky, you'll get a nice breakout, which we got on BTX. So that's what I really like. And you can see that I did another third day surge. The scale on this day was nice though. Dip buy opportunity. I think John Poppin nailed it, nailed the dip buy on this. I sat it out. I just wasn't quick enough. And then today, another surge, and I probably made like 5,000 on BTX today, but I felt like I should have made like 30,000. So I feel like I blew it, but still grateful for it, for the opportunity.
So I have a question. Do you, I know that like for your strategy, like you need to be very like constantly like looking for plays and waiting for the right spots. So do you think that is kind of why a lot of other traders aren't able to like replicate your style because you need to be like zoned in like during market hours, like 100% of the time, you know what I mean? Compared to like a lot of other traders and services kind of just like teach, oh, we're just going to trade this time of day. We're just going to look for this specific pattern. Whereas like you're constantly on the hunt for whatever is setting up. And then you have to be really patient to wait for that trigger spot to go off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my take on like the time of day stuff, I think it's nonsense. Like I think that there's patterns from my experience, patterns can form any time of the day, any time of the day. It does not matter. What matters is the structure of the TA. That's what matters. If it's there, it'll work. Doesn't matter if it's 11:30, 1:30. You know, it just doesn't matter. If the TA is there and it's ready, it'll go. And yeah, because it is my job and because I do take it serious and I am here, you know, every day. I do really go hard, harder than probably most, probably as hard as you can go, like humanly possible. It just,
50,000 trades worth. Yeah.
it's just the reality. I'm just here. I'm playing the game. I enjoy it, so it's not hard for me to stay. And I guess I should show my second.
Yeah, just while that loads, like, I mean, that's the mindset. Like, there's no question to me. That's why you're just successful. Like, you were successful at trading, but just with that work ethic, like, probably could have picked almost any field. And if you're just willing to work that hard for as many years as you have worked, like, your odds of success are just much, much greater than the average person.
Yeah, I would say you've definitely grinded like really hard comparative to all the traders out there. You know what I mean? Compared to like how much focus you put into the market every single day. Whereas like how I'm a little bit different is like I'd rather take more size on setup that I'm more comfortable in if the risk reward is good, and just kind of hit that one harder and just like use all my focus kind of at one play. Whereas like you would rather like spread your focus out throughout the entire day and stay present the entire day, and kind of keep that same risk tolerance for every play.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one thing that never changes. It's always the precise entry and the precise risk. That's something that never changes for me. It always stays exactly the same. The thing that changes is based on the quality of the play and based on kind of what I see on level 2. It'll affect how large I size in, and it'll affect my bias as far as how long I'll hold the play, or like what type of upside I'll go for. Like something like BTX, it's like best case scenario. As far as it's got such amazing multi-day setups, it's got amazing TA, lots of time to get in, enough volume that I can size in nicely if I wanted to. And it's really the type of play you can just be patient, really go for the home run trend. So BTX is like the day trader's dream, in my opinion. It's like one of the best scenarios you could ever get. It's got predictability, scale. It just has everything. And so if you're newer, definitely just break it all down and learn from this, because these are the types of opportunities that can really help you grow, you know, your account as a newer trader.
Absolutely. The screen's crazy. What do you got going on here?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, this is what my second monitor looks like, or the one to my right. So I'm just, you know, letting people know that it's easier. Kind of just have a feel for what's moving. If you've got like your watch list, I've got mine set percent change after open, set to show these movers. So I can see just right at the top what's moving. And then I can just have all these charts. So it's like, oh, this thing's been consolidating for a while. It's kind of a setup I like. Okay. And then I can just pull it up on my main monitor. So it's good. I would say always use a second monitor. If you don't have one, get one, because you don't know what you're missing. And it doesn't have to be a crazy one. So this is what I rolled with for the first 3 years.
Wow.
And I was like very profitable, but I was too, I don't know, maybe lazy is the right word, man. Or no, I'm somebody who, if something's working, I get really paranoid and don't want to change anything. and I'm just like a person of habit. So I did not want to change the setup for a long time. But then it started to overheat, and the fan was going so loud, it sounded like a lawnmower. So yeah, so then I invested in a new setup, and actually the investment has paid for itself like over and over and over and over. I make so much more money now because I've got a better setup. I can see more things. I can just, it's so much better.
It's awesome. So
I
cool
was
to see.
the same way. I mean, I traded off just a laptop for probably the first 2 years. Like I crossed PDT on just one laptop, and like you said, like I don't know if it was laziness or whatever the case was, but I just, the thought of even getting a monitor in my head wasn't even a thing until I like woke up, and a friend of mine like was like, dude, why don't you have a monitor? And I was like, yeah, you're right. Why don't I have a monitor? So since then, you know, after like 2 years in, I finally got one, and yeah, it's like I feel dumb for not having a monitor earlier than I did.
Yeah, it's funny how that works. It's just like sometimes new things really do take a push. Just
Yeah.
the idea of getting second monitor and figuring out was like intimidating to me for some reason, but I have no idea why, because just do it. It just, guys, do it. Get the second monitor.
All right, Dan, I want to close this out on one last trade here. What do you got?
Sure. I mean, I could go over BTX again.
Today was gorgeous. Your choice, no pressure.
Yeah, I mean, sure. So on BTX, you got the morning move, which was really sweet. Comes down, but really it's able to hold up quite nicely, and it's just kind of consolidating. I would almost see this as like a horizontal range. You know, and you got some different views you could do, and I was trying to play some of these. Like I sculpted some of this, I sculpted some of this, but the thing that made me miss it was this nice dip here. It kind of threw me off. I didn't want that to dip. Because I took this right here, nailed it. It was going good, and it started to break down on me. So I locked up like, I don't know, $2,000 or something. I took 5,000 shares, so I was really liking it. I was like, and the target was 25. But when this got weak and it failed the flag, sketched me out, because you know, when someone's this overextended and it doesn't work right away, once in a while you'll get the insta dump, right? And it's like, I don't want to risk that. So I didn't, and then started to ramp up again. I took 2150 or 2175 maybe. I did take it, but with way less size, and then I just scalped it, and I don't know why I did that, but so I guess what I was trying to say is when something makes an insane move in the morning and it holds gains all day, look for that late day squeeze to new highs, because that's something that will happen a lot. Essentially, you know, shorts just didn't get let out. I mean, this is an insane move. They're shorting it. They're probably shorting all these pops, thinking, you know, it's probably gonna make a lower high and then just like fell into close and maybe get a, I don't really know what goes through shorts minds, to be honest, because I've never shorted before. But yeah, I mean, it puts them in a really hard spot when this starts to ramp and test the morning highs. It's like, what are you gonna do? You got to cover out of your position. This thing's gonna squeeze. It's a 1.7 mil float. No, it's gonna go. So they all covered, and so that's why you get the move that you get. You know, to nearly 28.
Gorgeous. Do you use like VWAP at all? Because like, I mean, I throw it on, like I traded BTX today, very similar setup. I just base a lot of mine off VWAP, but it sounds like you're just
shit.
technical analysis.
Yeah, no, my indicator was turned off.
No.
But yeah, no, I out of all the indicators I've ever tried, the only one I've stuck with is VWAP. I think it's like, it's just incredibly useful for day trading. Not as an absolute, but as to just get a feel. It's just so important. You got to know where you're at. This will let you know kind of where you're at. So, and if you don't understand what I'm saying, just trade with it for a couple months or whatever. You'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I agree. It's an extremely useful guide, but like you said, not like a holy grail, but it's definitely useful.
Right, because like you can just see even from this, it's tight. Like it's tight on the VWAP or average wise, it's not getting overextended or under it too much. It's just kind of like hovering right around it. And I find that that can create some of the best squeezes. Just really bullish.
Awesome.
I got a question for him.
All right, hit him.
So what is your future plans? I know you said you didn't really understand shorting. Do you think you're gonna get in shorting? Are you gonna keep doing what you're doing? Are you gonna size up your trades? Are you gonna take a break? Like what's next for you?
Well, I mean, because I'm making just insane money that I never thought I would ever make, I'm gonna keep doing that. And I'm gonna keep rolling. I mean, like I said, I don't consciously size up, but like as I'm doing better and nailing stuff, I assume I'll size up with that. You know, slowly but surely over the months, I'll probably scale up more and more. Like I said, I think I have so much longer to go before I really accomplish what I feel like I'm capable of. So I have a ton of work to do still, and it's business as usual. You know, this million doesn't change anything. It's obviously an amazing goal to hit, and I'm just beyond words, like happy about it, and it feels great. You know, to actually see the dream become a reality. It's crazy for sure, and just gonna keep it going. You know, let's just, hey, I made 1 million. Why not make a few more? You know, whatever. Sky's the limit, right? You know all about that, Jack. You're over 5. Yeah.
Yes, sir. No, I love it. Just keep going, business as usual.
Yes, sir.
And like you're one of the hardest grinders on Twitter for sure. And you show up every day, you do the same thing, and it's just a process. Trust the process, baby, and keep working. I know you're gonna keep working because you just show over and over that you're dedicated, you're hardworking, and I'm sure you're gonna achieve what you think is capable, because at the end of the day, it's just all law of attraction, and what you believe is what you can accomplish. So keep going, dude. And I'm really proud of you on how hard you've worked. And it was really cool to start talking way back in the day and see, grow with each other. And that's basically all I got. What do you got, Mono and Kyle, for him?
And congratulations to all you guys, by the way. Y'all are killers.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. No, I was gonna say no questions, but like honestly, just listening to you, like, because I consider myself a hard worker too, but like, I mean, you're inspiring me just listening to your story and just how hard you grind it out. It's really awesome, and
thanks, man.
I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, I knew our strategies were very different, considering I am a short seller. But literally watching you go through your charts, like there's so much value there. Like you literally put on a clinic just now, really teaching how you do it, and it's impressive. It's awesome. So yeah, super happy and proud for you, dude. It's really cool.
Awesome. Well, it was a pleasure having you on. For any of the listeners, the viewers, if you're new, make sure you subscribe. Check out Dan on Twitter. He showed a couple of his tweets. I mean, he throws up like at least like 5 charts a day, it seems like. So a lot of value there. We'll link his Twitter just in the description, so make sure you check it out. But I appreciate everyone watching. Congrats once again to Dan for crossing the $1 million mark. That's all we got. So
thanks to everybody. Thanks to all the people that from Twitter and stuff that have congratulated me and always supported me. Like positivity has always been my driver. So like when I was posting my paper trades and people would give me encouragement, and Tim Sykes would hit me with a retweet, and like those things really affected me, man, so much more than any negativity. It's like just wanted to say that, thank you to everybody.
Awesome. Perfect note to end on. Thank you for watching, everyone. We'll be back next week.